Oh boy, we get into the two lists that are probably gonna take the freaking longest. So let's start off with TV shows, right? We all have TV shows. There's so many TV shows. um, so I've taken what I've done is I've taken all the TV shows I watched this year, all the 2022 TV shows, and put them in a preference revealer, and we have our top 5 TV shows of the year. There have been many TV shows this year I have watched. There have been many TV shows this year I decided, hell no, I'm not going to suffer through that, like She-Hulk, God help me, or Rings of Power. So here's the top 5. We're doing top 5 TV shows of the year. Just to tell you the type of shows this list included. This included The Santa Clauses, The Devil's Hour, Housing Complex C, Cars on the Road, Welcome to Wrexham, The Old Man, The Time Traveler's Wife, The Gilded Age, James May, Our Man in Japan, The Terminal List, Rick and Morty Season 6, Dynamachi Season 4 Part 1, Tales from the Territories, Let the Right One In, The Inside Man, and all that. Those are just some of the shows that were featured in this big preference revealer. And now here we go. So, number 5, James May, Our Man in Japan. Which I actually said that wrong because it's James May, Our Man in Italy. Man in Japan was the first one. James May, Our Man in Italy was the second one. This is, of course, on Amazon Prime. So if you want to know where to watch it, you go watch it on Prime. I love the James May, Our Man in Japan series because it was just James going through Japan, and he was learning about their culture and learning about all stuff like anime. He was learning about history of the islands, history on like cuisine, and like some of the he was learning about everything in Japan. And it was so informative, but it was so nice, and it was done with like a bit of humor in it too, so it wasn't all boring and just information. It's James also being an idiot and not knowing what to do. That's what Our Man in Italy was. He was just going around Italy, and he was just being James. He was learning about Italian culture, like about their history, about like some of their buildings, about their cuisine, about just little like their games that they play, the wardrobes, like all that stuff. He was just going through everything, and it was so fun. I really enjoyed Our Man in Italy. It was a nice, it's like an informative, nice travel show, but done with humor in it because it's James May, and James May is obviously gonna have humor in his stuff. So that's why Our Man in Italy, I gave it an 8 out of 10, and it is number 5. So number 4 on the list, which got a rating of also 8 out of 10, is Rick and Morty Season 6. The reason I think Rick and Morty Season 6 in general beats Our Man in Italy is because I had fun doing the reviews of it. Like, that's one of the few series I decided, no, I'm going to do reviews of this and put it on YouTube. And I think that helped boost my enjoyment of it a lot more, because I'm like, I get to do my review after this. And I also really enjoyed watching Rick and Morty live. I haven't done that since Season 3. And a bit of Season 4. I didn't watch Season 5 as it went. I watched Season 5 all together after it had aired. So... but I watched Season 3 live, and that was fun. I enjoyed watching Season 3 live and then going to school and talking about it with my friends. And I did the same thing for Season 4 as well. Not the going to school part, but the talking with friends afterward part on, Discord or something. And I'm like, why not just upload reviews of what I thought about it on YouTube? And I think that helped. And I also really enjoyed a lot of the stories from this season. Like the, Pissmaster one was great. The one with the Night People was also great. I loved the Night People one. The Die Hard tribute one was fun. The final one with the lightsaber was great. There's some clangers in there too, like the Beth one. That's ugh. And I thought the dinosaur one was just kind of It was just okay. Same thing with the Knights of the Sun thing. I think that was just it's an all right episode. But majority of the episodes, I'm like, that was really good. I would definitely watch them again. And of course, we now have the story arc for Season 7 out there, right? That's all out there. So I just really enjoyed Rick and Morty season 6 overall. And yeah, it's number 4. It's number 3, Young Justice season 4, which got a 8.5 out of 10. Where can you watch Rick and Morty? Oh, you can watch Rick and Morty on HBO Max, I guess. I was watching it live on Adult Swim. So yeah, Young Justice season 4, you can watch on HBO Max. I was watching it live on freaking Teletoon. I recorded them all in digital box and was watching them, and that's why the last review took so long, was because I didn't have the last 2 episodes because my copies were just horrible. Our internet was awful at that point, the 2 episodes recorded, so they were all like unwatchable, so I had to wait for them to re-air. Thankfully they did. It's like I was like, oh, how lucky am I? I'm starting to review it, and then it's like they're like, oh, we're gonna re-show Young Justice. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, works for me. But yeah, season 4 of Young Justice. Not the best season. No, it's not. I think each season has steadily declined. I should say Young Justice season. It goes for me. Young Justice goes season 2, season 1, season 3, season 4. It gets steadily worse and worse, it seems. And the show's canceled now. But yeah, I think how really helped my enjoyment of this was doing the reviews. Doing the reviews of this on YouTube also was very fun and very much helped my enjoyment of Young Justice, because afterward I'm like, oh, I get to do my review. So yeah, that's why I'm going to be doing more reviews in the future. You'll see. Sonic Prime review should be coming out soon. As I record this, it may have come out already by the time this comes out. But Sonic Prime is the next series to get a review thing. But I loved it. I didn't love it. I can't say I loved it, because it was stuff that pissed me off. But overall, I very much enjoyed it. And was very much looking forward to where Season 5 was going. But of course, we get canceled again. Number 2 was The Devil's Hour with an 8.5 out of 10. Devil's Hour was on Amazon Prime. In the midst of all the crappy stuff Amazon was doing with Rings of Power, we get this show. Right? And this show flew under the radar, but it was so good. It was so good. I loved The Devil's Hour. It was great. You know, it was very... You kept you guessing what was going to happen. It was psychological more than, like, jump scary horror, which is my type. I like the psychological stuff more. And it had a great idea. You know, this guy, he keeps... not reincarnating, but every time he dies, he relives everything over and over again. So he's like different timelines. And it's like, as it goes on, you start to realize, why is this thing happening? Why is this thing happening? Oh, it's because from the other timeline. Oh, it's crossing up. Ah. You see? Like, it all makes sense at the end. You have a bunch of questions while watching it, and you're like, I don't get this. Well, by the end, last episode, it's like, everything's revealed. Here's the reason. And you're like, oh, I get it. It all makes sense. Great show. And the main character is a female protagonist. So for anyone who thinks I don't like female protagonists, you can shut up. I do like female protagonists when they're written well. But nowadays, most female protagonists are written like shit. But this one I loved. I thought she was great. She was fantastic, and I was with her every step of the way, and I'm like, yes, I like this. Because not only was she was trying to get to the bottom of the answers and everything. She was trying to find the answers to what's going on. She's also a mother who's trying to protect her child. She has to deal with her child. She has to deal with the fact that she's going through a messy divorce. And then she might have feelings for another detective. And all this weird crap is going on. And she's somehow in the middle of it all. So she was very believable. She was a person. She was a character that you could sympathize with and be like, I'm sorry if I was in your situation. I don't know how I'd handle it. You're doing it better than I am. See what happens when you get a good writer to do a good character? But Devil's Hour, I would absolutely rewatch over again. And I hope we get a season 2. Because the writer said he's got season 2 and 3 written. I'd love a season 2. And the number one series for me, with a 8.5 out of 10 as well, but it is higher just because of how much more invested I was in it. That's what it was. I was invested in Devil's Hour, but this show I was invested even more. It's Danmachi Season 4 Part 1. Man, this year I got into Danmachi, and I'm so happy I did. Of course, I watch on Crunchyroll. You can watch it on many other sites. But I watched on Crunchyroll, and I loved it, dude. It was so good. I'm so glad I caught up. That was my goal when I started watching. So I started watching Danmachi in September. I'm like, my goal is to catch up by the end of the year, so I'm ready for when Season 4 Part 2 comes out in January. I am ready for that now. Let's go. I'm all there for it. I am all there for it. I loved this. This arc was not as, I wouldn't say dark as the last one with the Xenos, but it was definitely still kept the intensity going. With the whole stuff with Ryu and I'm trying to remember what was the first part. Cassandra was having her premonitions. We had to deal with Bell now being level 4 and seeing just how freaking powerful our boy has become as my son. I loved it. I was so invested in it every step of the way. I might have to rewatch it right before Part 2 comes out, just to refresh my memory and what made me watch like the last 2 episodes or something again. But I absolutely loved it, dude. I was so invested in it. I had so much fun. And Danmachi, because of that, is my favorite show of the year. And would not be surprised if you see it in the top 5 list next year. Season 4 Part 2. Don't be surprised. Those are my favorite shows of the year. What are your favorite shows of the year? Let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you next time.